At 8:17 on an ordinary Tuesday morning, millions of people are halfway through their routines. Coffee machines are humming, schools are filling up, office buildings are settling into another workday. Then, everything stops. The lights don't flicker. They simply disappear. Traffic signals go dark. Elevators freeze between floors. Cash registers fall silent. Across the country, phones begin searching for a signal as backup systems quietly take over. At first, almost nobody panics. Power outages happen all the time. People laugh, pull out their phones, and assume the electricity will be back in a few minutes, but this time, it doesn't come back. Within a single hour, the country begins sliding into a crisis that almost nobody is prepared for. Because modern civilization doesn't just use electricity. It depends on it. From clean drinking water and fuel pumps to hospitals, grocery stores, communication networks, and banking systems, nearly every part of daily life relies on a constant flow of power. When that flow suddenly stops across an entire nation, every passing hour changes the situation in ways most people never think about. This is what really happens during the first 72 hours of a nationwide blackout. The first signs of trouble don't look dramatic. Most people reset a breaker, glance out the window, or check social media for updates. Some step outside expecting to hear utility crews already at work. Instead, every house on the block is dark, every traffic light is out, every storefront is silent. Within minutes, busy intersections turn into confusion as drivers cautiously inch through crossings, hoping everyone else follows the same unwritten rules. Small accidents begin piling up. Police dispatch centers receive more emergency calls than they can answer at once. Meanwhile, office buildings begin evacuating employees. Hospitals switch to backup generators. Subway trains stop where they are, leaving passengers waiting while transit crews work to move them safely. Most people still believe the outage is temporary. That's the dangerous part. Because nobody changes their behavior. People continue driving, continue shopping, continue draining their phone batteries, refreshing news feeds that aren't updating fast enough. The first hour is defined by confusion. The second, by realization. As the afternoon wears on, the communication network begins showing its first signs of strain. Cell towers don't all shut down at once. Many continue operating on batteries or emergency generators designed to keep essential service running for a limited time. But those backups were never meant to support millions of people trying to call family members, stream updates, and search for answers all at once. Phone calls begin dropping. Text messages arrive late. Mobile internet slows to a crawl. For the first time that day, people realize they may not be able to reach the people they're worried about. And when reliable information disappears, rumors quickly take its place. Some blame a cyber attack, others think it's a natural disaster. A few fear something far worse. Nobody seems to know, and uncertainty spreads faster than panic ever could, because when people don't understand what's happening, their imagination usually fills in the blanks. By early evening, grocery stores become the center of attention. Modern supermarkets aren't designed to hold weeks of inventory. They're built around constant deliveries. The moment people begin to suspect the outage could last overnight or longer, their priorities change instantly. Instead of buying dinner, they buy bottled water, canned food, batteries, flashlights, baby formula, pet food. Anything that doesn't need refrigeration. Checkout systems struggle to stay online. Some stores stop accepting cards, others close their doors, entirely because they can no longer process payments or safely store refrigerated food. Many shoppers suddenly realize they have very little cash in their wallets. Within hours, shelves that looked full that morning begin showing empty spaces. Not because the country has run out of food, but because millions of people are making the exact same decision at exactly the same time. As the last daylight fades, neighborhoods grow quieter, the uncertainty grows heavier, and for the first time, people begin wondering if tomorrow will look anything like today. By the time the first night settles in, the blackout is no longer an inconvenience. It's become the only thing anyone can think about, Across the country, neighborhoods that are usually lit by porch lights and television screens disappear into complete darkness. For millions of people, it's the darkest night they've experienced in years. Inside homes, refrigerators slowly begin to warm. Freezers are still holding their temperature, but every passing hour makes the food inside a little less certain. People reach for their phones again. Still no updates. The batteries that seemed full that morning are now slipping toward empty. Portable chargers are being passed around the house. Power banks that sat untouched in drawers suddenly become the most valuable devices people own. Outside, another problem is quietly taking shape. Fuel. Gas stations may still have thousands of gallons of gasoline stored underground, but without electricity, most pumps simply can't move it into your car. By midnight, long lines have formed at the few stations operating on backup generators. Some drivers wait for hours. Others arrive only to find handwritten signs taped to the pumps. No fuel. For many families, that's the moment the blackout starts to feel real. Not because the fuel is gone, but because they can't get to it. As the night wears on, emergency responders begin working under growing pressure. Police officers move from one incident to the next. Firefighters respond to accidents caused by candles, overloaded extension cords, and unsafe generator use. Ambulances continue navigating dark intersections where every call takes longer than usual. Hospitals remain open, powered by backup generators that keep critical equipment running. Doctors, nurses, and support staff continue caring for patients, knowing every hour of reliable backup power matters. Behind the scenes, utility crews are already working around the clock. Their first priority isn't restoring electricity to every neighborhood immediately. It's locating damaged equipment, assessing the system, and preparing for a safe restoration when repairs are complete. For the public, that work is almost invisible, but it has already begun. By the second morning, the mood has changed. Yesterday, people wanted answers. Today, they want supplies. Stores that still have inventory open their doors to crowds gathering before sunrise. Employees do their best to keep shelves organized. Customers do their best to stay patient. A mother reaches for the last case of bottled water just as an elderly man arrives beside her. Neither of them says a word. They're simply reacting to the same uncertainty. The fear that tomorrow may bring even fewer options. Scenes like this begin playing out across the country, not because people have suddenly changed, but because uncertainty changes the decisions people make. Another concern is beginning to emerge: water. Most people never think about what keeps clean water flowing to their homes. In many communities, electrically powered pumps help move water through treatment plants and distribution systems. Many utilities have backup power and stored capacity to continue operating during emergencies, but if an outage continues, some areas may begin experiencing lower pressure or temporary service interruptions. That's why emergency officials often encourage people to conserve water early during prolonged outages, not because every system fails immediately, but because protecting available resources gives crews more time to keep essential services running. As the second day continues, authorities urge people to limit unnecessary travel, conserve fuel, and rely on trusted emergency broadcasts whenever they're available. No one can say exactly when the lights will return. For now, the only certainty is that the country has entered its second day without power, and with every passing hour, one question quietly grows louder: if this lasts one more day, what happens next? By the beginning of the third day, something has changed. The panic that defined the first 24 hours has begun to fade. Now comes something quieter: acceptance. People stop flipping light switches out of habit. They stop refreshing their phones every few minutes. Instead, they begin adapting. Neighbors who barely exchanged a wave before the blackout are suddenly sharing meals before food spoils, checking on elderly residents and comparing whatever information they've managed to find. Extension cords stretch across driveways from the few homes with generators. One family keeps medicine refrigerated for another. Someone grills the last of the thawing food and invites the people next door. In many neighborhoods, cooperation becomes just as valuable as preparation. But while communities adapt, the systems that support them are still under pressure. Modern cities aren't built to store weeks of food, fuel, or medical supplies. They depend on a constant flow of deliveries moving every single day. As trucks face fuel shortages, distribution centers operate at reduced capacity, and communication remains limited. Replacing what has already been used becomes increasingly difficult. The shortage isn't always the result of empty warehouses. More often, it's the challenge of moving supplies where they're needed fast enough. For emergency managers, every repaired substation, reopened roadway, and restored fuel terminal becomes another step toward stabilizing daily life. Recovery has already begun, most people just can't see it yet. Then, late in the afternoon, a porch light suddenly flickers to life. One house, then another. Across town, traffic signals begin blinking again. An air conditioner hums back to life after nearly 3 days of silence. People step outside. Some clap, some wave at utility crews driving past. Others simply stand on their front porch, watching light return to streets that had disappeared into darkness. For those neighborhoods, the blackout is finally ending. Not every neighborhood comes back at once. Some homes are lit again, while others remain dark, waiting their turn. Even after the lights return, life doesn't instantly return to normal. Families throw away spoiled food. Businesses reopen one careful step at a time. Hospitals transition back to normal operations. Communication. Networks gradually stabilize as equipment reconnects, and demand begins to ease. Recovery continues long after the lights do. The biggest lesson from a nationwide blackout isn't that society collapses overnight. It's that modern life depends on thousands of systems working together every second of every day. Most of us never notice them until they stop. Those first 72 hours reveal something easy to forget. Preparation matters, clear thinking matters, and communities that work together often recover far better than individuals trying to face every challenge alone, because when the lights finally return, what stays with people isn't the moment the power came back. It's everything they learned while it was gone.